And then let's talking about digging in and putting your editorial letter together. So first pass you make over a manuscript, what are the types of changes you're looking to make?
The first pass is usually big picture edits, so I'm not going to be going through and doing like line level, like, oh, this dialogue sounds a little weird here. It's much more about, structure, the order that the scenes are in, what each scene does to move the plot forward, looking at all the characters, making sure they all need to be there and really serve a purpose in the story. So, plotting, pacing, motivation, these are like the bigger questions that we want to approach so that, the next round, we're not just looking at the forest, we can actually see like the trees. The first round for me is more about the forest.
So what are some common structural problems that you're encountering?
Common structural problems. I think, especially if you're working on something that's very character-driven, very emotion-driven, sometimes we can forget the need for forward motion, for urgency and propulsion. We always need to know, what does the protagonist want more than anything else? So what's at stake for them? And, what's going to happen if they don't get that thing? And if the thing that the protagonist wants is just like, oh, well, Billy wants a lollipop. What will happen if he doesn't get it? Oh, well, he'll be sad. Like those aren't stakes. We need really big stakes. If he doesn't get this lollipop, then he's not going to have a chance to look inside the wrapper for the prize ticket that will give his family the money they need to pay their rent. Like that's stakes, So I think, not having stakes to set up what like the plot is going to be, the whole plot arc, is something that I am always looking for.
So you get through there, you deal with, you make sure, and you want stakes, and in every scene you want the character to always have a goal, because when that goal is resolved and there's no stakes, that's the end of the story, right?
Exactly.
So you go through, you take care of that in round one. Okay, that's taken care of. What's round two look like?
Round two is reading to see how they addressed the issues that I brought up in the edit letter. Usually if they didn't do it in track changes, hopefully they did, I'll do a document compare so I can actually see how much has been done. If I don't think that it's been addressed enough, I'll just kind of send it right back. I'm not going to waste my time rereading for something that clearly isn't there. But hopefully it has been addressed, and then I'll have a little more time to look kind of at individual beats and moments, to go through dialogue, to do some line editing, which can involve, deleting sections, rearranging sections, proposing new language in sections, or saying, writing up a paragraph and saying, what about a moment like this? So that kind of starts the more collaborative, I think, process of inline editing for me.
I definitely want to pick your brain about line editing, because this is such a nerdy show. I could talk about language and editing all day. Before we get there, if I'm an author and I'm getting the letter back, and I'm assuming that you're not going to come right out and say, hey, dirtbag author, I told you to do work and you didn't do it. You're going to be far more diplomatic than that. So what are some things you might say that might give me the clue as the author that I need to dig deeper and work harder?
I think I'd probably just tell you that, honestly. Like, I'm not really one for mincing words too much. I'll be kind about it, but I don't want to waste your time, my time. If something, needs to be addressed further, then I'll just say that.
I think that's probably far preferable than somebody that blows a lot of smoke but is not clear in their communication.
Yeah.
So let's go back to line editing. What types of things are you looking for? What kind of issues are you frequently seeing with sentences, with long passages? What are the things that most frequently come up that authors can maybe start remediating on their own before they're sending out their manuscript?
When I line edit, I'm looking for, sort of a sentence flow that feels really natural. So I read it at a pace of kind of reading it aloud in my head to see how something sounds. So I always recommend that authors read their own work out loud. That will really point out to you the places that sound awkward or stilted, just unrealistic. So I do a lot of editing for that. I do a ton of editing for word repetition, where maybe the author will use the word fire in one sentence and then 2 sentences later they'll use the word fire again. Just trying to to make sure that there's a variety of words in the manuscript, and seeing, what words authors over rely on without knowing. That's something that I look for. And I do some light copy editing too, to hopefully smooth the process downstream for the copy editors.
And I assume by the time a manuscript gets to you, and it's a big assumption probably, but I assume that the author has gone through the manuscript multiple times and polished it to their best ability, and then it goes to the agent, and if the agent's a good agent, they're working with you, so I assume that must be, they've gone through and they've made sure that they're sending out a quality presentation your way. So what stuff's still slipping through at that point?
Oh, what's still slipping through? Yeah, I mean, no book is ever perfect, right? Something can always be improved. And at some point in the publication process, the editors are the ones who have to say, like, okay, I think this is as good as we can make it. A lot of agents these days do work really hard editorially with their clients. And, they take it as far as they think they can reasonably take it. But they also have to keep in mind that they are working for free until they sell a book, So an agent doesn't necessarily want to spend 5 revisions with an author before they know that they're going to make some money on the book. Whereas once it gets to my desk, I need to do whatever it'll take to get it there.
That makes a lot of sense. I love asking these same questions to so many people, because you get similar responses, but you get a new take on it. It's like, yeah, of course, agents don't want to work for free. That makes sense. So another question that I'm going to ask more delicately, because it's another opportunity for me to maybe out of ignorance touch the fence. I hope that's not what this is. But does it happen where an error will slip through to a final published product? Obviously never with source books, but where you might have seen it as an agent or with a previous publisher. And what is that feeling afterward? How do you address that when it's already printed and it's out there in the world?
Oh, I mean, it's a horrible feeling. When I read things that have errors in them, I'm always just embarrassed for the people involved, because I know that would it would hurt me and I'd be really upset. But there's always, an opportunity to correct things in future printings, and certainly the opportunity to go in and revise the ebook so that the text is correct.
Gotcha. So even if there's nothing to do about the initial print run, you'll still fix the ebook, and it'll be like it never happened for everybody after that point.
Yeah, I mean, if the error is really severe, like there's a page missing or something like that, then the book would be pulped and they would do a new print run.
Okay. If it's just like a missing period or
then that'll just be yeah.
Which I think you should pulp and do a rerun if you put a space before another piece.
I would like that too. Unfortunately, it would cost a lot of money.
Rest assured, at the Kent household, that's a post that gets chucked across the room. If it's good, I might pick it back up, but I will definitely check it for a moment.